Hey everybody, it's B-Roll Bob. Looks kind of nasty out today. It was snowing this morning, and then it was raining, and now it's pretty dry. But more importantly, floor is installed.
All right, hey, so for a long time, I've always wanted a sweet van. I've actually had a number of sweet vans in previous lives. I had an 88 club wagon, an 87 club wagon with no floor, and a 91 Isuzu NPR, also with no floor, weirdly enough. So I've always wanted a van to use for production. I wanted something that when we do local jobs, it would make it a lot easier. Something that you can show up on set, be ready to go, have all your gear already packaged in the way that it needs to be done for shooting, and you don't have to spend a ton of time prepping and re-prepping and packing and unpacking in those 2 hours in the morning, those 2 hours in the evening that takes your entire day away. So we wanted a van that you could store storm cases in, that you could take the shelves out and store a motorcycle in, that had a data cart, that all your data was already put together and ready to go, and you didn't have to set up a laptop and set up cables and find an outlet and everything that goes into that process. We wanted to package it all into a van that was reasonably fast, looked good, wouldn't get stuck that many places, and you could also take to the beach and have a nice day. The best van for that job is the Ford Transit. This one was available locally used for only 23,000 bucks as a 2015 with 81,000 miles on it already. It was owned by an HVAC company that drilled a bunch of holes in it, put holes in the floor, and did a really crappy job of all their own modifications. So we took it, started tearing it apart, and we've turned it into what we call the Banger Bus.
Kitty, kitty, come to mama. I will lick you, sniff you, drama, drama. You'll never hear from my lips, miss you. I'll never use the word.
So it only goes one way?
No, it goes all the way around, but I think you gotta get out, right? You have to get out? Oh, it's gotta go back. Seatbelt out. Right? I bought this van used, and the dudes that ahead of me actually used like the screw ribna style, and we've broken those off and filled them with silicone and covered them up because they're heaps of crap. All right, for the non-critical points in the L-track, we're using nut certs, which are these little guys. The nut actually floats on the inside, so it gives you a little deflection, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, which is good because my measuring sucks. So this is the install tool. You thread one in, and then drop it into the hole. Hold the bottom half from moving, and then we use the top half to actually crush the nut cert inside the sheet metal. What that is doing is ballooning the backside, kind of like a pop rivet, but with a retained floating nut. And now we have a floating receiver that can tolerate some deflection, and it's siliconed in. All right, and the last bit of prep to get this L-track down is I've made these roughly 3/8-ish spacers that are gonna sit on top here. Because the ribs has to bridge the rib, and then that way it's going to kind of back it up, and so it's not gonna deform when you tighten it down, and should provide a little extra level of shear strength. So I'm just gonna set this on here and then just weld it right down to the floor to retain it. So now I gotta check under the underside for fire, since there's undercoating down there. On the top side, you got the L-track here, which is what seats will bolt to, shelves bolt to, roller carts, whatever. But for the seats especially, you want to make sure it's double secure. So on the underside of a number of these, we have these spreader rails that won't pull through the sheet metal, and then these are welded onto the bottom with a long piece of square tube that bridges the frame rail. So there's a piece of angle iron, weld on nuts. That's the start. I just welded a bunch of 1032s instead of 1/4 or 3/8, like a total Muppet, and now I gotta cut them all off. So that spreads over a frame rail, and it's actually spanning the sheet metal, and then the sheet metal here, and then also across the frame rail, so there's not really any way, at least that this one's gonna pop up. A little bit about this stuff. If you go on like any overland forums, van conversion, YouTube dudes, Everybody wants to wrap their van in Reflectix, which is basically foiled bubble wrap, but it doesn't actually work or do anything when it's up against the material, especially a conductive material like metal. So you need to have an air gap, and so that there's air gap, foam, air gap, big foam, air gap, then Reflectix, which is mostly just for like that last little bit, and just kind of to fill these voids in here. This is not Reflectix. This is actually Noico, Amazon, look at, great seller, would buy again, just to help eliminate noise and rattles and stuff when you're trying to edit some sick bangers. Bob is about to get seriously stoked here with his circular saw.
Oh yeah.
21 degrees outside. Bob's getting stoked on a router. Bob routed the edges of the panels to make a lap joint, so they kind of fit together, and we're gonna see if they actually fit together. Now we just gotta cut slots in it for the L-track. Just pulling the wood out here one last time to bolt all the L-track through the floor and double check everything. Unfortunately, Bob did such a good job, it's actually kind of a bear to get out because it's all lapped over each other.
Hey, it's B-Roll Bob checking in. Today we're doing some polyurethane on the Banger bus floors. Check it out. We got 1/2-inch plywood here with a birch veneer, light robin egg blue, and a black onyx stain. And we're gonna do as many coats of polyurethane today as we can. It's gonna look sick. Floor is installed. Got a little graphic in there. Looks pretty good.